Welcome to the channel. It's your boy Red, and we're about to go ahead and take a look at a video that's been going on in TikTok. I had this video for a while. I haven't had time to kind of make a reaction to it. I do know that this guy, he's sterile. He has 3 kids, married 15 years. Make that make sense? But we're gonna react to it and see what he has to say. All right, let's get it going. All right.
Let's let it play. All right, the doctor walks in and tells me I'm in good health, but I'm sterile. I'm like, what you talking about I'm sterile? I got 3 kids. I don't make no damn sense to me. I don't understand I'm sterile. I don't know. It blows my mind. You know, I got 3 kids. One's 15, one's 12, one's 7. So I'm like, I don't understand that. So anyway, I go home and I just start thinking, it's gotta be my kids. But I started thinking about the fact that every time we watch like those Ancestry.com commercials, they come on and my wife kind of always turns the channel. I'm like, why you always turn it? I notice you always turn the channel. She's like, those are stupid. They don't even work. And I'm like,
how often Ancestry.com commercial pops up for you to catch your wife changing the channel every single time? I don't know. It sounds fishy to me. Let's keep going.
Anyway, I started really thinking. I'm like, if I'm sterile, and the doctor said
sterile, brother, sterile.
I mean, I've always been sterile. It's not like something that it's always been genetically since I was born. I started thinking, I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to go ahead and get these kids tested. You know, I really didn't want to. I wanted to believe that my wife wouldn't do this to me, but I have to get my kids tested. So I secretly get a little sample of all of them. I go to the damn the Ancestry.com place or whatever, and
why he's not being straightforward? Ancestry.com paste whatever. Okay. All right, let's keep listening.
Anyway, get them tested. Then I think about this. My wife got a birthday coming up. We're gonna throw this big birthday bash. We already even planned on it. So basically, I got the whole birthday bash planned. And then basically, what happens is I get all of our families there. Birthday bash. I get the popular mixologist in town. Chief of police comes because he works with my wife sometimes at our company. So chief of police. This whole big thing, because I want to make a big splash. It's her birthday, you see? So what ends up happening at a certain point, we bring the big birthday cake out. You know those big birthday cakes you see on the movies?
Okay. I've always said that if you let someone talk long enough, they'll tell on themselves. He had way too much stuff he had to say. Oh, you remember the birthday cake, the movies? And it was Ancestry.com, or whatever. I am not believing anything this guy is saying. I'm not saying it's not true. It's just the story seemed a little too far-fetched. It seems like he has a lot to say. It seems like he has a lot to say. And normally, when someone has a lot to say, it looks like they're trying to convince you for us to convince him that he needs to convince his own story. It doesn't seem right. It's just weird. Because when you're telling a story and it is what happens, you don't have to try to convince people to believe your story. It just seems weird. I don't know. It seems a little off. I don't know. Let's keep listening.
Got one of those big ones, and then I had a woman come out and she hold up the sign that said "You lying bee," and it blew everyone's mind. It blew her mind. What is this about? What is this about? And I was like, you know what? No, this is about. It's about the fact that this mixologist is his son. Hey, let meet your daddy right here. I straight up had to tell him, this is your dad. Chief police, hey, this is so 15-year-old mixologist, that's his daddy. Chief police, 12-year-old, that's his daddy.
Wait, what? He says mixologist. Is that like a bartender or something? So the mixologist is the father of the 15-year-old, and the chief of police is the father of the 12-year-old. The math ain't mathing, bro. So you've been married for 15 years, and your oldest is 15 years old. So which came first? Did she get pregnant first or you got married first? Which one is it? It can't be that you got married first because you've been married for 15 years. That means unless you took her down the aisle while she was 9 months old. I mean, not 9 months old, but 9 months pregnant. That means she was pregnant before you got married to her. That means the moment that little baby came out, the baby turned 3, she cheated on you with the mixologist. Oh no, I'm sorry, she cheated on you with the chief of police. That baby barely knew how to talk before he could say his first word. Already cheated on you. Oh my God, this lady don't care, bro. This lady don't care. If this is true, this is really bad, bro. Let's keep watching.
And I mean, I was hurt. I was hurt. I mean, I was so hurt. I decided I just had to sleep in my car. Man, I couldn't be in this house. I couldn't be around her. Just all these lies. I mean, I've been raising these kids for 15 years. There's no way they're mine. They're not. I'm sterile. Like, so basically, I just, I'm in my car, sleeping in my car, going to work, doing the normal thing I do, and I just was, running into different issues and felt the need that I needed to go. I really needed to go back to church. I just really wanted to do that.
Homie, you going back to church? Are you speaking of the same church you and your wife got married in? They probably was in on it. They probably knew she was pregnant and that baby wasn't yours. They didn't tell you anything. And you're going to go back to church without these people trying to convince you to go back to your wife. You understand? You want to know something? Adultery is like the second thing that the Bible frowns on next to murder. I mean, before the New Testament, the Old Testament, women was actually killed for adultery. Men and women, actually. That's how serious they took it. Now you have the New Testament, it kind of died down a little bit. I was a Catholic for a while now, so my family was Catholic, so I know some of these things, but dude, you're going to go to church, the same congregation that probably knew that your wife was pregnant with another man that chose not to tell you. These same people you're going to have advice. You know what they're going to tell you? They're going to tell you to go back to your wife. Forgiveness. That's what they're going to give. Forgive your wife. Forgive this. Forgive that. Cherish what you have. They're not going to go to the wife and say, why did you cheat your husband? Why did you cheated on your husband? Not just once, not just twice, but 3 times. And the funny thing is, she was pregnant with another man while she was walking down the aisle with this one. Made a promise in front of God that she would cherish and hold him for the rest of her life while she's carrying another man's child without him knowing. What is worse? Like, you shouldn't sit here and be like, oh, you need to forgive your wife. No, she needs to ask forgiveness from God because she broke her vows. Before she even broke her vows, she lied before she could even take her vows. And these people at the church telling you need to feel bad and take her back. No, you don't have to take her back. Her quarrel is not with you anymore. It's with God. Because that confident that you and her share, you made it in front of God, man. And she broke it. Multiple times. Now you need to go back so she could feel better about herself? Not me. That couldn't have been me.
And was getting some good, like the preacher and a lot of different people giving me some good advice and some good guidance, kind of helping me to understand that, it's not the kids' fault. You've been there for the kids, what I mean? And, then I start finding out there's some problems. Kids are having problems in school.
No one said it was the kids' fault. No one said that.
Because their dad's not there. They used to having their dad for 15 years. I haven't been there, so I start going back, being there for my kids and everything like that or whatever. But I had to let her know. I'm like, I don't know if
He came back for his kids. Funny about it, I got kids of my own, dude. It all depends on what type of relationship you have with your sons. If your sons know that you are a loving father, you are very fair, You discipline them when they do something wrong, not brutalize them, but discipline them. Tell them, okay, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, do better. You show that you want to guide them. You want to be a leader. You want to guide your son to be just a good guy, just to be the best adult they could be. If your kids are raised that way, they see the love, they know that you're there. Nothing's gonna change. They know that you could just come back, and then you could just start right where you left off. Those kids gonna love you because they only know one type of person. That's their father, and that's you. Now, the other spectrum of that is these kids. If you were the disciplinary guy, you're the one that was telling them no, you're the one that was being firm with them. These kids, based on their personality, they can just say, you know what, I don't have to listen to you anymore. You're not my dad. What could you do with that? What could you say about that? You're gonna feel as though you need to say or do something because you've raised these boys. No one knows them better than you, but they could easily turn around and say, hey, I don't have to listen to you, man. You're not my dad. Damn, man, that's tough. Let's go.
To work this out, I don't know. I mean, possibly, but I'm here for my kids. I'm going to try to be here for my kids because I feel like it's the right thing to do. It's what God wants me to do, you know, and I think it's the best thing to do. So that's that.
You sure that God wants you to do that? Are you sure about that? You need to separate the difference between being manipulated and prayer, because people use prayer to manipulate other people. You have to have a very self-conscious talk with God and then within yourself if you want to go back to her. Not because you have little Tweety birds in your ears telling you to go back. Because if you hear other people's opinion, they're not in a relationship with your wife, you will end up right back where you started. Next thing you know, you have 4 kids with 4 different guys, the father. Let's keep going.
What I decided to do later on and find out, because I have a 7-year-old. We didn't know who his dad was. So basically, after a certain amount of time with the Ancestry.com, like other people will get tested and everything like that or whatever. And then I got an alert from the email alert. And I'm like, really? So we kind of find out that it's just NBA Hall of Famers. I'm like, wow. I was tripping. I'm like, this can't be the case. I go and ask her. I'm like, who's his dad? She's like, yes, that's his. I'm like,
oh my God. So an NBA player is the father of the 7-year-old. Let's do the math. The oldest is 15. The second oldest is 12. That means when she cheated on him, the oldest was what, 8? The youngest was what, 5? She had these little toddlers in the house, and she decided to take a little girls trip to go have sex with an NBA player. You already been fooled twice. She does. Wow. God. Wow. Let's keep watching, dude.
Cause my son, my son, he can ball. He can ball, and
of course he could ball, man. Have you ever seen these guys walking around with their kids, and you see their son taller than the father? I'm speaking of like 5 inches taller than them. I'm like, I've seen a guy like, I'm like, hey, how tall is your son? It's like 6'3". How tall are you? 5'9". I'm like, what? You better go get that tested. And you ask the girl, you know, that's my dad, my uncle on my dad's side. It's tall. My uncle is tall. I like, man, you better get them kids tested, man. Like, you over here raising. I bet you that kid, 7-year-old, bawling on you. You saw his face. He could tell he didn't contribute to nothing on that kid, man. Let's move on.
I ain't got no athletic skills.
Of course you don't.
But yeah, I mean, the thing is, me and my wife are still trying to work things out. I moved back in, but I'm not. We ain't in.
You moved back in. That's what he said. Beta. Shout out to Abba and Preach. This guy is beta with a side of simp. Let's keep going, man.
Same room, you know. Luckily, we have multiple rooms. I'm there for my kids, even though they're not my kids, but they are my kids. I mean, I'm there for my kids. I'm the only father they know. So I've been doing the best that I can with this whole situation.
One thing I'm not gonna do here.
All right. That is crazy. This guy, he got it tough, man. I wouldn't tell another man to leave whatever he built alone, but I would just walk away from that. I mean, you got a 15-year-old, 12-year-old, and 7-year-old, and what are you gonna do? The moment you walked, you probably signed a birth certificate as well. This man is stuck. He's trying to make it work. I don't know. It seems a lot, but I'm just gonna take it with a grain of salt. I don't totally believe everything that he's saying. It just there's a lot of things that doesn't add up. But I'm not to say that all that he's saying is untrue, but it's hard to kind of take in all that, and he has too much to say, if that makes sense. But leave a comment below if you agree, if you disagree. I want to hear it. You can go ahead and put it down there at the bottom. Make sure while you on your way out, hit that subscribe button and throw in a like for the algorithm, so I could bring you more reaction videos like this. Just help a brother out. It costs you nothing. All right. Till next time. See you later. Peace.